There's one other way to get there, and it's a museum. It's a tour of a museum. Again, take Jamal's phone before he lost it. That's a museum piece, right? The old bricks from the 80s, those are museum pieces. An IBM Selectric typewriter, museum piece. Old phonographs, museum pieces. You get the idea, okay? How many of you remember your first laptop ever? It's a doorstop. It's a museum piece now, right? What if you went into a museum and it had exhibits of your world 5 years ago? You'd be able to understand what's in that museum, wouldn't you? Okay? So now, fast forward. What if the museum you're walking in has an exhibit of all the things in your life 5 years ago, but it's 5 years from now? So all the things that you're using today are the exhibits in that museum. Does that make sense? Because this iPhone 11 would be in the museum. So I'd be using an iPhone 16. What does an iPhone 16 look like? Where is the iPhone going to be in 5 years? So you start using it that way and saying, where are we going to be? So you use the things that you, not the R&D, but the things you have plus the R&D now and use it as a museum tour. The reason that I'm using the museum as an example is the ability to go back and forth and pin yourself is easier when sometimes you have an exhibit to look at. So if you're looking at a specific item, a specific property, a specific characteristic, what I do is I go into the museum and look behind the glass and see what exists today and on the display and then extrapolate where I am based on R&D and what I believe is in my pocket that compares to it. So it gives you a way to take yourself out and now you're sort of in a third person. And so it's another technique to get there. Some people are more comfortable with a slingshot. Some people are more comfortable with a museum. So it's just like, you know, we're moving it up forward. Is that Monday or Friday? It depends on how you perceive time, was the answer to that question. Here, to travel to the future, some of you may be more comfortable with creating your own museum. How many people prefer the museum over the slingshot? So anyway, that's how you get to the future. That's how you live in the future. And once you're there, you start asking those questions. But again, I'll say repetitively, live in the future until you're very comfortable there, until it's a place that you feel safe, secure, warm, fuzzy, and very at home before you start asking the questions. You know, this is an incredibly powerful technique you can use in so many ways you haven't even begun to discover. I'm focusing on your product launch 5 years earlier, but it could be anything you're looking at something to get involved in, you know, an opportunity that you're evaluating. Now you can evaluate it from the future. Maybe it doesn't need to be 5 years. Maybe you only need to go 3. But look at it from the future and say, what happened when I joined that company? Where did it go? Where did it fail? Where did it divert? Where did it zig and zag? And you can start projecting out, which gives you a better position to say yay or nay. Or I do that when I'm approached by a company for consulting. I look at it from the future and where did I take it? Where did it go? How did I develop it? Where did I zig? Where did I zag? Who did I use? What industries did I conquer? How did I get there someplace first? How did I increase valuation? I start asking hard questions repetitively. And I do this in the blink of an eye because I've been doing it all my life since I can remember. So for me, it's the way I think now. And I've trained myself that way. For you, it's going to take a lot more time and practice, and you'll get it. It's fun. You'll enjoy it. And it's the most powerful tool I have ever experienced. And everyone I teach it to says the same thing. It changes the way they look at things. And that's what I want it to do for you.